Darkness fills your life and pain supreme. When evil forces have deformed your dreams, it's time to open up your heart to let the light shine through. No matter how you look at it, you'll always know it's true.
GameCube, it makes a big fuss. GameCube, Nintendo bless us. GameCube, it's all we're easily surpass the rest. And when it comes to games, we'll always get the best.
People by your side forsaking you, and you cry because you don't know what to do. It's time to open up your heart to let the light shine through. No matter how you look at it, you'll always know it's true.
GameCube, it makes a big fuss. GameCube, Nintendo bless us. GameCube, it's how we're easily surpass the rest. And when it comes to games, we'll always get the best.
It's time to open up, to let your heart decide what's true.
Listen and you'll hear the heartbeat of a universe teeming with force. See all the forms and the faces of nature taking its course. And feel all the wonderful motion flowing through things far and near. Nature will share her secrets when we are ready to hear energy. These are a few of your faces, glowing in timeless places, bringing our lives new graces. Energy, there is no living without you. We must keep learning about you. Now is the time to find how to. Energy, you are profound. You make the world go round and round. You make the world go round. You make the world go round. You make the world go round.
Thank you, Energy. Hello, everybody. How's it going? Hope you're having a good weekend. Thank you for being here. EP8 Box, thank you for 35 months. Yeah, I gotta get some new icons, some new emotes. I gotta freshen some of that up, huh? Gotta get on that. Choco Plantain, thank you for the 40 stream streak. Hi, Renaissance. Hello, Dead Fox. Welcome, new faces. Orchid Manus, thank you for the stream streak. On Renaissance Punk, thank you for following. Look at that. I see that now. You followed 18 hours ago. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi, everybody. Playing some more Elden Ring, some things we can do. Gotta start working up towards the fire giant, and there's a katana on the way, which we're gonna look at. I don't know if we're gonna use it because I like my current weapon so much, but we gotta try it. The energy song is from Epcot. It's from the old Universe of Energy Attractions pre-show. There's a second song about energy from that old ride. This is the better one. You guys want to? You guys want to hear Bizarro World? You want to hear what the other energy song is like? This is what I start the show with in Bizarro World in the Mirror Universe. Here we go. Yeah, Spike loves apples.
Here we go through the universe of energy.
I mean, it's pretty good too. Epcot kind of had nothing but bangers. I don't think it's the same singer. No. On as such, but yes, OG Epcot. This better? I don't know if it's better. I kind of like the other one. There's a bunch of catchy Epcots. Man, we'll do a stream just talking about catchy Epcot songs someday, because when that place opened, it was insane. I have a new Mega Man figure. I don't know. It's kind of hard. Let's see, 1 second. Yeah, you can kind of see it back there. It's one of those posable ones. I pre-ordered the Proto Man and the Snake Man from the same line. I don't know if they're coming in, but I actually just found this one out in the wild, so I picked him up. I could put the helmet on. I always feel like Mega Man looks kind of cool when his helmet's off and you just see his hair. I'm like, whoa. Yeah, the Jada Toys. Yeah, this is the Jada Toys one. I don't know if you can see, like, it has like a little posable thing for his Mega Buster there. That's there. No, Snake Man, not Steak Man. Well, that'd be pretty good. Pretty good, too. I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate that at all. I did not see the Flintstones figures they made. There's a Flintstones movie coming. I saw it, like, on Warner Brothers Slate. It's called Meet the Flintstones. So that's interesting. We are modless. Which, I mean, I'm a mod, technically. Yeah. I mean, look, if any of the old guard here wants to be a mod just for the sake of banning a spammer, basically that's it. Or like somebody who's being obviously racist, let me know. But otherwise, I could probably handle it if you don't want that responsibility. Which parts of the Odyssey really happened? Yeah, it's a great. Oh god, yeah. You guys missed it before the show went live. How upset I was. Yeah, the characters with the vitamins is up for it. Tuber's up for it. I thought I heard Tuber say earlier he wasn't, or maybe I misread it. I may have misread. But yes, I did start at a bit of an earlier time today, so I'm not surprised I caught Firehair unawares. It's fun to say unawares. I saw the Odyssey yesterday. That was good. Oh, he's probably watching the third place match, huh? Yeah, that's fair. I would never let you. I mean, I'd maybe let you. Yeah, I'd let you if you wanted to. I mean, you know, again, I don't want people to be making too many judgment calls as much. Just like, you know, people come in sometimes like, click here for $15 or something. Like, then it's obvious. I know, I saw a new movie. I liked it quite a bit. It was very good. I don't think it's like some masterpiece or something, but it was definitely a very good movie. I enjoyed it. Yeah, Automod does a lot of that work. It's interesting because, like, I think I said before, my friend is a classics professor. Yes, it's even better than Begonia. So it was interesting talking to him about it. Because his, like... I mean, he liked it, but, like, he has, like, critiques, like, as somebody who, you know, literally has a doctorate in classics. So, though he focuses more on Rome, I think, these days. But he knows all the Greek stuff, too. Yeah, we don't have to worry about backseaters, which, again, even then, usually I take care of backseaters or just yell at them. Again, that hasn't been as much an issue here. Is it Odyssey Roman? No. The Odyssey is Greek. The Aeneid is Roman. All right. The Aeneid was basically Roman, Greek Homer fanboys saying we should have our own one of these. Is Medusa real? Nope. So maybe we should try to get Ronnie's thing to progress that. We could do that. We could just start going up here. Maybe we should go up this mountain, because then we can find that samurai sword. That'd be neat. What's the fastest way? It's like hard to tell the actual fastest way to get to this gate. These things are all kind of confusing, I guess, here. Which samurai sword? There's that one that the one NPC invader drops that has bleed on it in like the icy mountains, kind of near the fire giant, I think. I want to know its name. This is too high. I mean, I want to get over there. This will work. Did Cappy show up to me? No. Blood Katana, that sounds right. Now, I don't know if I'm going to use it, because this weapon has been very good. Each 20 arcane. We'll find out. I mean, if I two-handed, that won't be a problem. If I want to dual wield it, which is a thing, then we can work on that. So maybe let's get the sword now. Let's see what the requirements are. Yada, yada, yada. If we even want to bother. Who knows? You guys drop a lot of souls. I always usually get hit by this fire, though. Right. Oh, sweet damage goes for a game. Hey, fire. Hey, how's it going? All right. Oh, God, that's right. We upgraded our weapon a lot since the last time we went through this place. We had like 3 weapon upgrades in a row, and it has made a pretty big difference. This is not... Yeah, I think... Honestly, I think if I go here, then... I know I've been over here before. How the hell do I do that again? The place is so big. I could just keep going this way. We'll figure it out eventually. I've never been up there. How do I get that? How do I go up here? $78 souls for those guys in one hit, huh? Crazy. Early stream today. It is I think my buddy wants to go out for his birthday later, so I'm starting to stream early so we can at least get some time in today. There it is. Just missed it earlier. Seabed curse. Dung Eater! Dung Eater, what'd you do, buddy? Come on. I know where my Landra, I just started. I'll let you be. Your music is pretty. Ow. Oh, please don't kill me. Oh, damn. I missed that before. Okay, here we go. This is the right way. What you guys up to? Blood. England's winning. Man, I thought France was supposed to maybe go all the way, right? I see you, idiot. I do want to check out Soulframe. I do have access. I might do that at some point. Well, you have some health. Not enough, though. 3,000, man. Had so many animals. Seems a little pandering to me. That's gonna miss for a second. Okay, I should have swatted you out of the air, is what I think, but whatever. I think the only Somber Smithix anymore is the Ancient Dragon one, which at some point we'll figure out where we can find one. I think we're doing okay right now. A lot of people here. There's the bleed. Alright, Splatoon Raiders Scene 2. Get out here with your shield. This flying guy is annoying. Oh, damn. Yeah, pretty powerful right now. Hey, Raven. Did I? Oh, there it is. Consecrated snow fuel. Interesting, interesting. Three souls here, man. Go. Oh, there's also the fire mansion or whatever it's called. We'll get to deal with that whole situation at some point. Which means like the Godskin duo is near there or something, which that's gonna be a fun fight. You also gotta start thinking about those Haligtree medallions. This. Okay. Ow, ow. Try and get the fuck. Oh, I'm still being attacked. My bad. It might be important for Fire Giant. I don't know. What you looking at, buddy? Jeez. Can't just wail on these guys. Oh, hello. Here we go. We are strong. Invigorating white-cured meat, huh? So invigorating. What do you have, buddy? What's that? What's that? Ah! Fuck! I have no memory of this. Don't disappear. All that for a somber smithing stone 6, huh? Boy, I really am. I think I'm pretty well ahead of the weapon upgrade curve of where the game thinks I should be. Branch just turned up. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna give me a grace in a moment. This is creepy. Try down and then seek grace. Okay. What's over here? Nothing? What the hell is this? Where's this going? Let's go get this grace first that it's speaking about. smoky. And there's that Grace. Man, it's not even enough for level up. So my arcane is currently pretty low, so yeah, we'll see. Alright. I double back and see what this is all about. Probably not. Again, or my main concern is to get this katana, maybe. Let's go get the map piece, if nothing else. See me. Ow, ow. Oh, God. Oh, dang. Oh, shit. What the fuck is that? Oh, I don't want to lose those souls. Yeah, it's raining. Huh. I think I got home. I was doing some errands earlier. Missed it. Good for me. I don't particularly want to fight these assholes. Let's see if we can just kind of run through it here. There's some fat rain happening out there. It's loud. Oh, woo. Yeah, I think running through here is the way for sure. For all this. For a friend's birthday, I like to be it depends. If I'm closer, I'll get a gift. He's turning 40. He graduated with me, so he's turning 40 before me. So I got him a gift. It's a big one. Okay. That guy just gives me. Lightning? If I lose power, you'll know why. Storm just rolled in or something. It's like a dead fire giant? What's this? Bombersmith? Hey, remember when I really needed one of those? Ooh, another golden seed. We're gonna need the tears again here pretty soon, really. Those are just to refill my shit. Just not need refilled right now. He wouldn't appreciate the LEGO Enterprise as much as me. This is a friend who he likes he loves Metallica more than anyone I know. I've gotten him many Metallica gifts over the years. He likes video games. He likes Metal Gear. He likes Final Fantasy. I actually got him. There was a Final Fantasy. Oh shit! It's just it's another one of these fucking gargoyles. As long as it's just one. I got him one of the Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Games Collector's Edition. It has a bunch of cool stuff in it. Gifts for work. Oh boy. Right. What's this moveset again? Oh my god, how'd that miss? Okay. This is like the one I never fought as much as that first one. This is gonna take a second. Right. Use a lot of heals just to get situated here. What was that? Ow. Oh, lucky there. I'll take it. Me and him went to the midnight launch for Final Fantasy 12 back in the day. I thought that'd be a fun gift. I'm trying to think. I remember there was another game launching that was like not Final Fantasy 12, something much more like maybe it was a. That would have been Call of Duty. It's a little early. Maybe it was a Gears of War. Gosh, what was it? Because 12 was a late PS2 game. I'm trying to think. What else launched the same day as Final Fantasy 12 in the US? Someone looked it up. A lot of people were there for that and not Final Fantasy 12. At the time, I was actually not really a super big Final Fantasy guy. It was actually when I beat 12 that I went back and played through all of them up to that point. It was really good. Bro, no, again, it was something kind of, something a bit more Call of Duty Madden player stuff. Hey, Jared, thank you for 7 months, or 24 months. My bad, appreciate that. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. Also, I'm like barely paying attention. I'm like destroying this guy now. What the hell's going on here? And I'm gonna die. I think it was Gears of War 1, but it might be wrong. That would have been around the same time. Damn. Wow, okay. See, now I fought this guy very few times, to be clear. I fought the other one a ton. Yeah, I was in a flow state. Was it maybe it was Oblivion. Let me look. Okay, let me look up. This was 2006, right? 2006 video games. 2006 in video games. Let me look up Final Fantasy 12. Oh, there's a big like thing of releases. See, now when I look it up, I don't see anything else. Oh, Japan. Okay, not Japan, the US. October 31st. So there was also... God, maybe I'm just like misremembering because none of these seem that weird. Yeah, I mean, I don't think everyone was there for Killzone Liberation. Maybe Vice... I don't think they were there for Vice City Stories. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm just misremembering, but that's like in my mind. There's definitely one time where it was like that, where there was like a, you know, a more weeb game and a more dude bro game launching at the same time. Yeah. Also, apparently it's Halloween. Maybe there's a lot of ATV Off-Road Fury 4 people there. When did Gears of War come out then? Gears of War was... Oh. Some of my lights went off, everybody. Don't be shocked. What the hell was that? Why did some of my lights? Maybe something just happened to burn out. I'm okay. There's just a storm outside, so like I said, like I might lose power at some point here. Oh, it's just blinking. Right. Okay. Well, hold on to your butts, everybody. Arrow the hell? This is for torrent. Ow. I had such a good start that one time, then I blew it. Oh, come on. I'm right between the legs somehow. Get yeah, it's gonna work. Oh, I'm gonna get hurt though. Fine. Worth it for that stagger. Shit, this guy's doing a lot of damage. I'm gonna die here maybe? Oh, actually no. I can't believe how much my lights are flickering. Real weird. I've never seen them flicker this much before. Okay. Okay, when he has this thing. Oh my god, I like can't hit him. Rogue needs more Sacred Tears. Oh my god. Dude, that's a hit really bad. This one sucks. Okay. Oh boy. That was the range on that. Oh, there's another one. Oh, I'm dead. Damn. So close. Blew it. Yeah, I'm getting some weird misses here. What's the first game that comes to mind when you think they were able to release this game on this console? Oh, there's a few. I mean, there's like some of those like weird like last gen ports of like the Xbox 360 version of Titanfall in Destiny. Even Grand Theft Auto 5 is a Xbox 360 or a PS3 game. So honestly, PS3 is more wild sometimes than Xbox 360. That thing feels so weird and ancient to me. Xenoblade Chronicles is on the 3DS. Yeah, they got the Vinny original. Dude, they got like Witcher 3 on Switch 1, right? That was kind of wild. They got that working pretty good. Get down from there. That's why it's cool when the tree goes down. I could totally gameplay color. And Resident Evil 2 on N64 is always a big one. Metal Gear Solid 5 on PS3, I forgot about that. That's wild. Yeah, I never think of that as a PS3 game. I get staggered. Did it twice there. Oh, I thought if I hit him with that, it would stagger him. Oh, shit. Oh, man, I got a double roll there. Gotcha. Oh, plenty of heals in this. I have a lot of flasks. Lead a gargoyle. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Fine. That's fine. Ow. Roll, 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 roll. Be smart. No rush. There we go. First try. Jeez. Yeah, a lot of souls for that, turns out. Not much for of games that gamers failed. I mean, gosh, just any game that was good that didn't sell well enough. I mean, Griffin Dingo should have been a bigger hit. Sometimes it's even like more so not just that they failed, but that there was like discourse about how the game was bad, even though it was good, like DMC. Wasn't there a Site of Grace? Like, was that? Did I make up that Site of Grace in my mind? Oh, that's right. It was a tree. I'll push forward. Gotta be one somewhere. Titanfall 2 is a big one. Titanfall 2. It's wild that more people didn't show up for Titanfall 2. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy, I get why people didn't show up for that. They were wrong, but I get how that happened. You care if LeBron goes back to Cavs? I'd like it if you would. I definitely would like to go see him play for the Cavs again. Hello.
You'll turn back ahead lies the land of the giant's flame.
Oh, I know.
And the way forth is forbidden. Hear me. Doing so will unbind destined death.
That's what Mom wants.
Who would dare? Most certainly not the fingers. You're
No, we're not doing this again. Hey, Dad Fox, thank you so much for 6 months. Appreciate that. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. Like, do I just dump these into Arcane right now? Again, I don't really think I'm going to use this weapon. I just kind of want to get in and look at it. But I also am terrified to just not use these runes so I get said weapon. That seems risky. That seems dangerous. We can always find more runes. We're gonna level this stuff up anyways. Like... Man, we still get a lot out of leveling up dexterity, honestly. We get just about as much for doing strength now, too, though, which is maybe worth remembering because of that scaling. The thing with these weapons is, the thing with my current weapon is that it is only B dex scaling. Now, it's got one more level up, and I think it turns to A at that point. I can't remember. I wouldn't be surprised if this katana was like S scaling or something. Maybe we just maybe we put our vigor here and then we're like good with our vigor there for a while. Then I'll start worrying about some other things. 45 vigor, I can live with that for a long time. Do I need medallions for this one too? Don't I already have an item? Yeah, I already have one. I'm gonna skip this cutscene. I'm like, I get it. Elevator, but we'll let it play. Sleeping Dogs. I still need to play that one myself. I mean, I definitely think not nearly enough people have shown up for Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. I was like looking on Steam at like its total reviews, and it's like, what, 1,500? And like, look, I probably think that Hollow Knight Silksong is a bit better than Lost Crown. Not that, but like the fact that the fact that seemingly 100 times more people have played Silksong, and it's like, oh, there it goes again. It's like, look, if you like Silksong, go play the Lost Crown. I bet you'll like that too. If you like Metroidvanias, I guess it's a weird thing in general that for a lot of people the only Metroidvania they seem to care about are the Hollow Knight ones, which again, they're fantastic, but they make a bunch of those, everybody. Lost Crown was so freaking good. Oh, here's the mountain. Climb every mountain. Man, I wish I had a nice nun sing a song about, like, taking chances at the lowest point of my life. I think that'd be comforting. Alright. Yeah, Ubisoft launcher stuff always sucks. I get it. I think that's even, like... It like sucks a little bit, like, and I get it, but like, you know, sometimes when games have bad reviews on Steam, it's not necessarily because of the game. People are mad at the microtransactions or the launcher or the anti-piracy. And again, I get all that, but I guess I did play Nine Souls. Played it on here. It was great. I liked it a lot. Very good parry action. All-time great final boss. Final boss was super fun. Loved that. Whoops. Yeah, launchers and launchers is insane.
Finally, we meet the
Who are you?
tarnished. Oh my. Why then I fear that you will prove this vessel, well, as for his flesh, I
you
hope you
talking
can
about?
make your peace with that.
Okay.
You were about to sacrifice some the life of a fair maiden that you would toss, and only so that you may be Lord. What a horrible thing to ponder, your ascendancy. But how would the Lord, crowned so,
Is this guy gonna try to get me to do the frenzy
chosen,
flamed
tarnished,
ending?
and would be Lord, spare the
Look,
poor
I'm
girl.
all about it, but she gets mad at. She
Consumed
wants to
your
be
flesh
sacrificed. I'm
and
afraid. You get some
You are
Misty
prepared
Mountain
to
singing
show his
instead. Oh,
and
man, I used to
attain
this better.
lordship through righteous
All
hardship.
over the misty mountains cold, through dungeons deep and caverns old.
Chosen time. Descend into the depths, seek audience with the
That's
three
all I got, I think.
fingers and the flame of
Maybe,
frenzy.
Jester, what would you like?
If you inherit the flame of frenzy,
Yes, person's trying to get me to do the frenzy flamed ending.
May chaos take
No, you sound like
the
a crazy
world.
person. Anything Lord of the
May
Rings?
chaos take the world.
Yeah, you sound like a crazy person. Again, I do it, but she's gonna be mad at me, and I can't handle her being mad at me. I'm sorry. Just can't do it. How hard is it to do that? No, I got the far over. Anyways. There you go. Thank you very much. Titanic theme. I don't think I can. I'm sure those tabs are out there, right? Man, got those first 4 notes on the first try. That was not bad. That wasn't too bad. Instead of that. I don't know what I think about like Christopher Nolan's like music in his movies. I mean, it's good. It's good. I guess it's just like it's effective music for the movies, and not something I ever want to listen to outside the movies. And as somebody who grew up loving movie soundtracks, you know, there's a part of me it's a bit like that's a shame, but I get it. It's effective for his movies, and I mean the whole thing with his movies is kind of sound design and just being sort of bombastic with that, right? So I get it. What's in these ruins? Lots of ghosts. I did see the Odyssey. Yep, it was good. Oh, shit. He's gonna see me now. Oh, let's just go for it. Rude. Don't cross me. Just get stunned. Ah, shit. Burrito, thank you for 100 bits. Can you rate the Nolans? I tell you what, there's actually been quite a few I have not seen, which maybe isn't that shocking, but I somehow have not seen Interstellar or Oppenheimer, which I know people love. Didn't see Tenet, which is less surprising. Dunkirk was him, right? Didn't see that. You know, basically I've seen the Batmans and now Odyssey and Inception. I liked Inception. I feel like there's a bit of an Inception backlash these days. Never saw Memento. But I still like Inception quite a bit. I thought that was an interesting, neat movie. I don't think Dunkirk is one of his more liked ones. It seems like the heavy hitters are Oppenheimer and Interstellar. I guess I will be... I liked Odyssey. I liked it a lot. It was good watching it. I guess I'll be a little bit surprised if people, kind of like some of their movies, are like, that's an all-timer. That is an all-timer masterpiece. That would surprise me a bit. That's great to know one of these guys. Oh, I've heard this spell's good. I think I just watched J.K. Lee's do these big. Oh, I'm not doing this. Fuck this. No. Oh, I guess I'm dead. Okay, we need to find wherever the cave is. God, we might just need to run to wherever the sword is and get out of here. I almost feel like this place is a little bit above me. Oh, I seen the Prestige. I saw the Prestige. I forgot about the Prestige. Am I? Great Odyssey rendition. I have not seen the new one. Is Overlord art though. I largely remember the mini series that was on when I was younger. Oh boy. Soft bird. Again, usually these ruins have some kind of entrance to something neat. I don't want to die again. Looking for it. Ow. Oh, I watched Wishbone. Yes, I do remember the Odyssey episode of Wishbone for sure. Yes. That's another one. Tell us the story, Wishbone. Oh, look how many of these assholes are up here. Get in here. Let's leave. I don't even know what these guys are about. Just get out of here. Oh, thank God that hit. Oh my God, there's more birds. God. They point to the entrances of tombstones. Look at that. Ah, look, it's like doing a thing now. Right, because like often it's like downstairs almost where they're pointing. I think I like can also, by the way, like miss where this guy is, so gotta be a little bit careful. Granted, the giant is not for a little bit yet, I think. There's definitely some more traveling that needs to happen. How are we gonna do this? But do I want my tombstone? I don't know if I want a tombstone. It seems grim. There's a tombstone, just so there's like some little monument for me that's going to last for like maybe like 30 years before people stop caring, and then like another 200 years before it's like removed or whatever. Like, yeah, no. Here lies the Cleveland streamer. Beautiful. Yeah, no, I definitely don't want one. Oh, I'm definitely gonna run past these people, huh? Here we go. How's it going, buddies? Looking nice. Oh, maybe this is a mistake. Yeah, we're doing fine. God, this game's cool, huh? Look at this shit. Don't look at chat. Don't fall. Oh shit, it's one of those assholes. Ha ha ha, you missed. Stupid. Take care of him. Not even worth too many souls, considering how big they are. Yeah, smoke meat. Smoke me like... Yeah, use me to smoke meat. It's interesting. This might be where that dude is. Don't need a somber smithing stone 8 anymore. Good, good, good. Let's hoping for one of these. North is Castle Soul. Is that what that castle is? This whole thing. Seems worth exploring. I have to get up. When was the last time you smoked meats? Been a moment, honestly. I haven't gone out use the smoker yet almost this season. Big boys. I can't remember. It's probably just a pork shoulder more often than not. Pork shoulder's so easy to do and it's always good. It's like, why not make a pork shoulder? $600 souls for that? That's nothing. There's definitely some giants here. Don't really want to bother fighting that guy. Might want to fight me though. Another grace up there. Is that just a bonfire? Looks like a grace. Nice. What I really would love to do is find some shrines, get some sacred tears. When's the last time I had bird friends were they justified? Good question. Been a moment. I would have had Barbies, kind of bad ones.
To say. My purpose was given to me by my mother, but now I act of my
See,
own
she wants to be
volition.
burned alive.
I have set my heart upon the world that I would have, regardless of my mother's designs. I won't allow anyone to speak ill of that, not even you.
Alright, well, don't threaten me.
Shall I turn your let my hand share them with me?
Your pain, share it with me. What is up there? I want to go in that cool looking tower. Is tri-tip a California centric thing? We get it here. It sometimes has some different names, but it's great. It's like, what is it called? Top sirloin sometimes, or is that picanha? But it's like sirloin adjacent. It's very good. Hey, look, cave. Oh, you know, we have plenty of these. I haven't used one of these in a moment. Sure. Let's see what's in here. Do I remember my numerals? Maybe I should look at those again. Whoa. Oh gosh. That person who yelled at me for never buying a flint is gonna get mad at me. Look, we don't need one. See? Easy. Okay. I wish I had one. Whoops. Oh my god. You said slug first. Spot that slug. Oh, yeah, look at that. I don't even want to bring the torch out. Why bother? We're fine. Look, I got freezing grease. We got all the grease we need. Okay. Don't bother fighting them. Look for the slug. Check new samurai armor. That's neat. I'm a samurai. Whoa! What's this? Ah, shit, don't die, don't die. Oh, man. Damn it, damn it, damn it, I can't reset. Oh, no, what? I didn't hit him. Ugh. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. All right. Stumble through the dark again. I think this is the katana. Am I crazy? This guy seems to have the katana I want. What did the Terminator say when he had to upgrade to Windows 11? Let's see, what's either... Oh, he said, hasta la vista, right? Because Vista, right? Windows Vista. I still love Vista, baby. Okay, I was similar. I was close. Oh shit, am I like... This is different. I didn't fall down the hole by accident again. Okay, I hope this still gets me there. Yeah. Yeah, we're back. We're back. I think. Yeah, there's my souls. Just top off right now. Is there another one of these guys somewhere? Yep. There we go. This is gonna help. Oh yeah, should have done that. Oh! It killed him even. Oh. Well, that did it. What the hell? Boss? Alright, let's go. Hello. Godskin apostle, huh? That's like Godskin do with just the one part. Yeah, stop that. Well, shouldn't have tried to do that there. I hope there's a stake. run through that cave again. It's not giving me a stake, is it? Oh boy. Alright, great. Alright. Well, I know what to do now. It's not hard. It's a bit of a walk. Just run past them. Yes. Alright. I'd rather not die again, because this is a, for this game, pretty big run back. Let's see, we're almost immediately dying. Stop doing that. That thing's annoying me. That I can handle. Oh, that was the latest. Oh, I might be dead? No, that's lucky. Oh, ooh, something might hit me. Oh, wait, what's this? What's this? Fine. What the fuck? I don't remember that. Ah! Ah! Gonna give me a steak here, huh? Guinea's got some moves. Where's my hole? There's this. If only I could see better somehow. I'm tempted to just try running through here. Let's get the first guy, though. I think that helps. They almost seem to be ignoring me. Yeah, whatever. Oh shit, there is so much from there! Cool. There's 2 flasks down. Get away from me, buddy. Let's go to the left next time. Same attack. I was way too greedy there. And let's get a better start this time. Ooh, almost 200. Almost depth 200. They get a text. Right. Sorry, yeah. The USB is so touchy on my phone. If I touch it while it's charging, it makes Windows noises. Actually, I mean, I'm on my computer right now. I may as well charge it here. It's easy. Let's just like run straight forward right now and see how this goes. So look at that. If anything, I think I should attack that one. But that's where the wolf is guarding this thing standing. Yeah, that was lucky. Next time we'll attack that one. I mean, is there a negative to charging my phone on my computer? Get these souls. Alright. How did that miss? Ugh. Yeah, again, another boss we cannot beat that one. Oh my god. Ooh, we're all whiffing. Oh, I can stagger. I finally got it. Ooh, right at like half health too. We're gonna skip a lot of phase 2 right now. That's fantastic. Just let me melt him. There we go. Cool music. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. It's not at the same time. That's when I'm really screwed. Did that hit me? Huh? Get out of there. I have a lot of healing left. I'm a bit concerned about my ability to do this. Surprisingly fast for a big boy, huh? Not done yet. Oh, wow. You're phasing. I'm gonna stagger you. It worked. It worked. It worked. It worked. It worked. Don't kill me and we're good. Thought I blew it there at the last second. What? Oh, okay, right. I see. Don't, no, die! Don't you dare! Fucking snail. Oh, good, a spell. Excessive text restore HP, it's interesting. Man. Hey, Miller Duck, thank you for 11 months. Appreciate it. Thank you. I could have just killed the snail. The snail was there the whole time. That's funny. That's funny. Look, if the snail's invisible, how will I know? Okay. Wait. I mean, this gets my maybe we put it to 10 just for funsies. What the hell? At this point, if it helps my bleed damage, I mean, why not? All right. So, is it snowing more than it was before? Am I crazy? I wanted to get up this cliff to go to the castle, but you know, if you can see anything. Don't remember it being this bad. Did I think about the TNG jellyfish when I saw it? I bet that thought probably occurred to me. I guess I'd be surprised if it didn't. Yeah, that's that thing. Maybe I had to go from up there. We need to get up this cliff, which we can do right over here. It's a weird little detour. It's those good souls. Hey. That was a surprise. Fuck you, snail. Strong snail. That's a grace. Well, get away from me. Got like a dead minor Erdtree. I wonder if one of those guys is near it. There looks like it. Yep. Let's see how this goes. Oops. Oh, I pushed the wrong button. Oh. Weird. I remember this now. Oh, now he's doing the one I'm scared of. Run! Maybe we should be attacking the smaller one first. It might not have very much health. Oh, they have the same health? Okay, that's fine. Oh boy, don't kill me. Oh shit! Ah! Damn. Yeah, my Fang's level, that's 200. Look at that. We did it. My Fang has, it's a Fang plus 9 right now. Leveled up quite a bit. I'm not going to do a shot because I'm going to be driving later, so let's not do that. Alright, we'll get him this time. I'm surprised I wasn't able to stagger him. This might be the first. Will this be the first game to get 300 deaths in? Because that's almost certainly going to happen with the DLC and everything. Also. Rip on this time. Got a favorite DLC boss. I mean, Rizzo's good. I like the Dancing Lion. I see some people say they don't like the Dancing Lion, but I don't know. I think he's really neat. Bullshit. Oh, wow. Don't split. Man, I just want to stagger you so bad. I can hit them both at least for a moment. Kind of. I'm gonna die. Yep. Getting greedy. That was not great. Let's try it again. Yeah, Midra's good. I mean, Rilana? Not real. It's like Renila. Yeah, one of them was cool. They're all pretty cool. The big ones, anyways. Fire guy, cool. I always forget which one is the one from the Magic School and which one's the one in the DLC with the 2 swords. Carry me? Stay good. It's even too hard to kind of keep them separated at least. Ah, I roll. Jesus. Ah, shit. Oh boy. Roll, 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 roll. Okay, we're alive. First try. Jeez, a lot of souls from that. So, isn't that where the flame is? I think up there we're fighting the giant. Maybe I'm wrong. Actually, I don't know. I think that might be right. Go here now. Can I go there? It's actually a bit more separated than I thought. Maybe not. So we have to go the long way around here. I also never went to this fort. Maybe I should be doing that first. Yeah, God, I can't even get over there. That might even be Riker's place. I can't remember what it looks like. One of them might be. I don't know. Actually, I probably am doing this circle here. See what's over there. Don't want to fight sensing. You know what I really want to find some churches. Oh, damn. Don't need it, but interesting to get one. Gotta be a grace somewhere around these ruins. Stargazer's ruins. It's Picard's first ship. That you, jellyfish? I'm afraid to fight something down here because I haven't touched a Grace in a moment.
Forever and ever it seems.
I'd love to find a Grace first before going down there. I mean, those bosses aren't usually too hard, but, you know, this is a dangerous area we're in. Can't count on anything being easy. Also, a bat's chasing me.
Where did you go?
Maybe across this bridge. Screw that. God, none of these options look particularly amazing right now. Oh, there's that one. Alright, I guess we'll just try to fight this thing. It'll probably go great. I'll get a Grace once I kill whatever's down here. I'm not even allowed. Friendship required ahead. Am I actually supposed to summon a jelly? Is that going to invalidate my run? Yes and no. Okay. Sorry, no summons.
Sister, where did you go? You promised me.
I don't even remember how this works.
We go to see the stars.
How do I do this? How do I summon thing? I might have to set about a bonfire, huh? Did I ever get the bell? How do you get that? I forget. I don't know if I ever did.
Sister, where did you go?
The church at the beginning. Did I just not buy one?
Promise me when we turn 14, we go to see the stars.
Well, hey, look, I said I needed to go to a Grace anyway, so we'll just do that. We'll go here. We'll run this way over here this time. Alright. Right, I think I just said, well, I don't need this! Just go to the round table. Okay. Yeah, I remember. I think I specific was like, don't need this! Alright, what else? It's this thing! 100 souls! God, you guys are bleeding me fucking dry. Okay, I'm made out of money to you people. What are you up to, Stinky? I don't trust you.
No. You have felt the... I can smell it on you. Apparently my seedbed is ripe and waiting. It was a brief respite. I'll go and unshackle my corporeal flesh. Trapped in the sewer jail below.
Oh, I have his key now.
Do you? Then the pox will truly be your own.
I went to where the key was needed that one time. Anyhow. Whoop. Gotta have. I have that many souls? Oh, right, I killed that thing. that. Most challenging fight in the world, huh? I'm not fighting any more of them. They're killing my frame rate as well. Voicer. Oh, interesting. I'm so pitchy, though. Alright, I've got a surprise for you. Damn it. God, I almost killed them.
No time for tense. Let's see the stars.
Alright, somebody gets a happy ending at least. Alright, fancy spin. Alright, now we'll take that off our inventory so we aren't tempted. There you go. We're gonna find out this wasn't really worth it. Yep, that's alright though. It was a nice thing to do. Gotta restart the run. It's invalidated, my bad. Whatever. The important thing is that we made that girl happy. The jellyfish girl. Interesting looking shack. I wonder if that's an artist shack. Alright, I've gotta run. Oh god, one of the birds. I just want to see what this... I forget what these things have. They something. What are these items? I can't remember if those are any good. Can't remember if these things are very hard. I hit his head. Can't me. Oh, I need to roll away. Then you. Right. Good. Jeez. Oh, thank you, Hill. Okay. It's fine. It's not fine. Big trouble. Thank you, Cliff. Okay, can you bring him down here? Thank you. We're here. Frisk Frostbite, and that's a big problem. I've gone through a lot of healing already. Should be in my horse Frostbite. He's fast, right? Ow! What was a mistake? Okay, that didn't work. Oh boy. Angry bird. Oh, there's a steak? That's nice. That's something. That shows this bird writing it the next time I read a mean comment on Reddit. Okay. 203. Did I not push the button? There it goes. Alright. I thought I pushed the button, so you guys let me know if I need to subtract anything. Oh, he's pecking me? Don't peck. Okay, we got him away from the cliffs. That might actually help. I gotta actually roll further away when I start feeling like that went poorly. I need to remove one. Aha! There we go. Well, I added already. Sorry, 203, 203. Evil Tweety bird. 203's crit. Got it. Oh boy. Why am I so bad at this? Oh my god, close is the distance, man. Oh, I thought it was toast. Okay, I'll take it. Whoa! What the fuck is that? You try to eat me. There we go. Come on, I gotta be close to one of these. Still can't find this guy. Ugh. I wish that did more damage, but I'll take it. Ow! No, ow, 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 ow. Alright. Let's not let that happen again. God, this guy's tough. I mean, it's like... Maybe I should have done some other things before going to this. Mountain's hard, but I just want to find this, this katana. Could have mashed a button. I had no idea, actually. I know now. I thought I was rolling out of the explosion. Don't kill me. Ooh, cool. Kind of a neat moveset for a big bird, gotta be honest. Yeah. Oh, that was gonna kill me? Yeah, I was trying to get some other hits in. I'm so far away, too. Here comes that grab, I bet. Oh, boy. Asked and answered. So I hadn't seen that one before. You can eat me. Aha! Eat me once. Shame on you! Oh, hit him. Oh, what's this? What's this? What the hell is this? Just gonna keep rolling for a moment here. Okay. Rolling like an idiot wasn't great. Ah, I took on my horse. Oh, so close! Alright, we're learning. It's a new thing. It was a new thing there. I was surprised by it for a moment. Yeah, at least we have the steak here. It's fine. We'll get this. Yeah, eat me once. Shame on you. Eat me twice. It can't get eaten again. God, I love that. Hello. Come on. Now I don't know where you are. Oh, I should have got off the horse sooner. Whoa, that was new. Whoa. Oh, I'm on toast. On toast. mistakes were made. What? I didn't get fucking fire. Black fire. Yo. Ow. Yo. Oh, that's not good. Okay, I might be toast with the frostbite. Basically, I'm fat rolling now. Oh, I'm not gonna revive him for the flask. Maybe just kind of be careful for a moment. Oh, right. Jesus. Alright, it's off. This is bad. No, don't do that. Oh, wait. There we go. What's this? Okay. Oh, I knew that one was coming. I am running out of shields. Got that. See? Right, that one. That one. I should have kept rolling. Honestly, that one went better than it should have. It was really ugly. We're getting there. It's a neat fight. We're learning it. This is an optimal place for my runes, at least. You can start off like this. Good. It could be better, actually. Jeez. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm not doing amazing here. Oh. Whoa. How did I do that much damage? Fire, fire, fire. Yeah, that never felt good. Yeah, people are always good. What worse, running out of chips or running out of dips? I kind of hate when I run out of dip and I still have some chips. Like with nachos, I am constantly trying to make sure I still have some cheese from my last nacho. It's like always something I'm worried about. Sorry, I touched my phone slightly. Fuck me. There we go. Oh boy, bad start, bad start, bad start, bad start. Oh, start. Did I not get my rune? Oh no, I just lost him right away. Okay, I did get him. Jeez. We were getting close and it's been getting worse all of a sudden here. Sometimes it be like that. I have not tried the Oreos and nacho cheese. I'm trying to avoid it. Hey Lexi, thank you for 25 months. Appreciate it. Could do with some good vibes. What is your go-to game to cheer yourself up? I don't know. I guess I don't necessarily just like go back to a game I need cheering up. I just kind of go play games. Kind of like, you know, I mean a Mega Man, right? Something that I like is super cozy and that I like a lot, obviously. Ah. Ow. Mash, 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 let go. It's not working. Why is it so bad all of a sudden? How has it gotten worse? Mario 64 is a big one, or even Odyssey. How is this getting worse? That answer wasn't useful at all. Well, you should go play Grim Fandango. There. You're not playing Ape Escape. It's not working. Fucking bird. Oh, good. Jesus, sucks. Oh my god, that's gonna hit me. Kinda should've. Oh my god, push the buttons! What is happening? I can't hit him! Thank you! Doing that. There we go. Just do this instead of the thing, because that never did much damage. I think that did much more damage than seeing the critical hit. Sometimes it be like that. This. I knew! I was kind of ready. Good enough. That one can always be punished, I think. Can't see. Okay, didn't know what's happening. My bad. Heal after the pecs. Whoa, 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 what the? I was doing great, then all of a sudden I got two-handed to death. What's that? What is happening? Ah. Mike. God. Ah. I didn't think this bird was going to be such a problem. I'm going to get, like, some death spell from him that I'm not going to use. I forgot to do my thing. Probably get a ton of souls at least. Ow. Ah, get in there. What killed me last time? Really? Oof, okay. Boy, I need some sacred tears real bad. I have to pull up a map and go hunting at some point here soon. Got our start. Good stuff. Great start. Huge start. Alright, got pecked a little. It's okay. No! Smash, 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 smash! Don't! Oh, I should have smashed that hard. Okay, yeah. It doesn't matter how much I smash. That's an instant kill. I can't be eaten. Oh, so much for the great start. Gotta make sure I'm still two-handing my weapon because I was mashing those buttons a lot. Okay, still am. Good, good, good. Can I, like, put any better armor on yet? Can I put, like, some glovies on? No? Anything for my tutters? Nope. Maybe that grab can't be escaped. There are a few like that. That's nice. Try this. They're not gonna do anything. Oh, got lucky there. Went for it real early that time. I'm kind of getting some lucky here. Let my stamina regenerate for a moment. Oh, right. Okay, could have been worse. Oh, I didn't notice. I kind of didn't notice he was doing it. That was my bad. That was my bad. Oh, yeah. Oh, I've been trying to hit his skull as much as I can. You're getting there. Again, I don't mind fighting a hard boss for a while. I gotta get these souls, though. It is enough of them. Sucks, which means I won't get my free hit at the start. Oh god, cool. Oh, wrong button. I definitely had to be pushed eventually. Oh my god, every time with that. Oh god, okay. Don't do the jump attack there. You get hit by the fire before you connect. Get out of here, Heat Man. He can talk, he can talk, I can sing! Who would have thought that most of this day would be spent fighting a bird? There's like an easier one of these in Caelid somewhere, I think. Never fought that one. Nope. There we go. Yeah, keep going for that, actually. I can dodge these. That's some range, huh? Come on, get over here again. Let's go. Round 2, buddy. Are you stuck? Careful, man. It just takes 2 hits from this guy. Jeez. Christ, my buddy saying. Okay. Stake of America. And if I only could deal with God. What if there are 2 of those words? You shut your mouth. Good thing these things glow. I'm like, where are my souls? Wasn't quite done yet, huh? Oh boy, I'm maybe dead? Okay, I should have filled twice there though. Now we're back. We're so back. No. Never mind, we're in big trouble. We're not back at all. Why would I say such a thing? Ideal rune placement, at least. Okay, that wasn't super ideal. Stop that. Rude. How am I getting hit with that still? Oh, that does so much frost also. Oh my god, you think I would know when to heal at this point. More. Oh my god, 2 kills again. Oh, never mind. Man. Why'd I do that? I suppose he can fall to his death, huh? I haven't been using way too many kills for this to be the run, huh? Oh wait, what have I learned about that? I just got lucky there. I kind of wanted that run to end. How can he fall? He has wings. That's the joke! He can fly! Where are my fucking runes? I died like by this cliff. Oh no. Am I crazy? I cannot see them. Oh no. There they are. That didn't work. Oh my god. If I can hit him. Here. Hit him once, hey. Don't got me there. Like. That hit me? How'd I let that hit me? I should know better. I don't want to know how many tries this has been taken. No, ideal runes this time. Maybe I'll get that free headshot. That's good. That's good. I missed that. That's not good. Fucking bird. Bird is not the word anymore, I've decided. I'm not changing weapons, it's fine. It is interesting, like I don't want to be like I'm mad about it. But it's always interesting if I struggle on a boss, which is like a thing I like to do. I like struggling in a boss and learning it, but like, people are always like, you should do this or you should do that, right? And it's like, I mean, fine, I'm gonna get it. Again, like I don't begrudge people doing that. It's probably frustrating watching me lose a lot, I guess. Yeah, you just if I heard this fight's funny. Yeah, it's just get good. I mean, this weapon does plenty of stagger damage. Hey babe, how's it going? I'm letting this pack get me a lot. There's no run back, so like, whatever. If it was really bothering me, I would just go get, like, an ancient dragon smithing stone or go do some other things. I probably don't even need to fight this guy, right? This is not a mandatory boss. Why did I do that? That's stupid I tried. Don't peck me. Don't peck me twice. How'd that end me? Yeah, damn it. That's a longer one. There's also all those runes going well. You saved the turtle. Good job. I let some baby deer cross the road, so I'm a hero too. Just stun locked. I'm like, what's that move? I was like, what the fuck did he just do? What was that? Way to one up your girlfriend. Well, to be clear, it was really more like the car in front of me let the baby deer go, and I was sort of like, I was locked into their decision. Chad always comes to your side. More like Chad always going against my side, whatever it is. Oh, shit. Oh my god. My execution sucks. Don't peck me. I could not see anything there. Alright, we've got some decent hits in. Free hit there. Oh wow, really? What's this? What? Oh, this again. That's fine. This is another case of roll a lot. That. That's fine. See? Just roll. Oh boy. Okay. Also, I think doing fewer jumping attacks is actually helping me. A little bit safer. Don't get pecked to death. I'm gonna heal even that. That sucks. Why? Oh, why? I finally was like, I don't need to heal. Just kill him. I should have healed. It was greed. It was greed. I should have just gone down there and healed. All right. It's getting better. The song is getting better, Fozzie. Fresh bread or fresh meat? Honestly, I think meat's better. Or I mean, a second. I don't know, fresh bread's amazing. Bread could be fine if it's not in, like, I don't know, fresh off the kill, I suppose. God, I almost died right away. That happens. Can't see anything. That was not a great start. Yeah, fresh bread's incredible. I mean, hell, you could freeze meat if you do it right, and it'll be fine. Good start. Oh, got greedy though. Already? Whoa, Jesus! If an equivalent of Allgarn's pasta pass existed for Lobster, would you try to get it? I mean, it did. It was the free shrimp thing, and I think it almost closed them. It was endless shrimp fest. Or I guess a pasta pass is a bit different than that, huh? No, I don't think. Look, even back before they were like talking about AI there, Red Lobster is a sometimes food. Just stand there. What are you doing? Oh, yeah. Might die anyways, because I'm bad. We're fine. Okay. Oh, damn. Fine. Okay. Ow. It's that attack. I didn't realize it. Oh, I might be dead. Oh no. Oh no. Roll, 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 roll! It's fine. It's not fine. I got hurt really bad. I'll be able to hit him in a moment. Ah. Ow! That's better. This might be an unideal soul situation. Let's see. Just gotta... Oh, crap. I forgot to jump off the horse. I got the hit now. Okay, don't die. Oh, God. It was like... took me a second to realize what that attack was. Really? Already? Okay, this. Okay. Oh my god. Oh, he's not done yet. Ooh, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Get out of the fire. Lead her into the fire. Taking it higher and higher. Okay, don't get frosted. Ah, I said don't do that. Steed, you need to run away from the cowards for a while. So the status effect is gone. Say you. Get out of that. Change your mind. Oh. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Heal first, now roll, now roll! Okay, alright, we're good, we're reset. We have so many heals, too. Shit. Weird. We get another stagger, maybe, but... Okay, doing this. Alright, last heal. Yeah, I was just trying to go for it. Okay. Or it's not a sub-hit. Shut up. That physic's a heal. I used it. I used the physic. It's the heal half your health in the steady heal. It's all good. This one, look at this. Look at this ideal rune placement. We're gonna be fine. Okay, it's fine. Oh, stupid Mike. Oh. What was that? I'm just an idiot. I haven't lost the runes yet. Am I still getting the runes? Part of me is like, what if they've been 0 this entire time and I haven't noticed? What if I forgot to pick them up at some point? Why is everyone laughing? No. 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 You shut the hell up. It just tried to pause the game. No one say anything! You think this is funny? What happened in there? When did I not get them? When did I not get them? I got them every time. I was so good about it. It's been so long. I didn't notice. I just get them. I'm still getting them. They're right there. I'm so mad. Oh, shit. Shit. Okay, screw it. Just tank that. That's a lot of damage. It was greedy as all hell, but... I can't believe this bird's been giving me so much trouble. It's embarrassing. I don't think this bird's supposed to be that hard. I don't know. Maybe he is. I can't believe I had no runes. I'm not picking up those runes. But I hate seeing them on the battlefield as I'm fighting. Oh! Oh, look, it's my runes. Let's get them. There we go. 3 runes. Yeah, don't do any... What is this? I'll take that. What the hell was that? All right. Ow. Now this. All right, come on. This. Right, we have a lot of healing. Let's use one. It's fine. It's okay. Get frostbitten. The greed is insane. I'm insane. I'm insanely stupid. It's insane greed. Roll away and heal for the love of God, Mike. My runes. Overshot. Get ahead. Jesus. A little awkward, but I think it's gonna work just fine. Ow. Really? I really need to keep my health as close max as possible. And you can give me hints. I am probably going to ignore them. If your hint's like, you should use a different weapon that you don't have upgraded, or you should go like somewhere else, probably not gonna happen. Okay, I don't need to pick my runes. That's useful. Good to know. This has been good so far. What are you doing? Ah, shit. Great, there goes my... Good though. Oh boy, we're in trouble now. Heal. Heal. Woo! Must be close getting stunned. There he is. This is a good time for stunning. Normally I stun him earlier than this in the health bar. I like this. Let's heal. Get hit, get healed. That's the move. Sure. Heal. Whoa, the cliffs are fucking me up. Good thing I'm good. No, maybe not that good. Please die. Oh, I didn't mean to attack that third time there. I thought that was a big mistake. Well, that's a lot of runes. Probably not worth it. Oh, that was just my fucking... Alright, great. Alright, I guess we can go up to this castle now or whatever. Holy shit. That was so hard. Maybe spend my runes so there isn't a thing. We're gonna go spend them over here somewhere. There's no way this lightning will hit me. There's Excited Grace right there. Another turtle I won't use, but I haven't actually checked on my remembrance runes in a while. There's a tear you can use for your flask that might be useful. Oh, that's alright. I mean, the healing tier 1 is always useful. Look, let's get this at 25 at least. I think my friend said anything else about them. Yeah, you're gonna hear those things. There we go. Alright. Yep. Alright, I'm gonna head out here in a second. Okay, just stop. I'm unplugging my phone. I'm sorry. Sorry about those noises. I mean, like, the one versus physic? Is that what you're talking about? Let's see what I have now. P, boost stamina, it's not terrible. Dexterity, intelligence, magic attacks, fire attacks, lightning, holy attacks, and charge attacks. HP. Oh, that one. Oh, that one. That one's pretty good. That's significantly reduce the gate damage. That can be neat. Kind of tank things for a moment sometimes. Let's hit this place real quick. I have a second here. Let's kill this guy real quick. Oh, Castle Souls is where I was told to go. It's supposed to be stuck here. It's gonna be cool. These guys usually have some kind of important item. ice breath me? What's going on here? Keep doing that. I can dodge that all day. We need the lead already. I haven't led something in forever. It's like, now I'm getting greedy on this guy. Here, this tour will protect me. Why is there a second one? I don't know what that was. That was my strategy. He'll just jump into it. Jesus. Summer smithing something I don't need. Why do you have half health? Where'd you come from? He split on him? Alright. We'll explore this castle next time. Let's get this one item. Tomorrow I should be able to do a long stream. I don't have any plans tomorrow, so tomorrow will be a longer stream day. Thank you for all hanging out and watching me get mad at a bird. I hope you enjoyed it. Must have something enough to get to 50,000. Actually, we'll save it. Let's go look at the round table. Boy, look at that. We are made some. Wait, we've covered some distance in this game, huh? That's most days for you, Idiot Box. I haven't like looked at my remembrance shit in a while.
Well, you know, the fingers shaken by this when they are finished. But thousands, if not ten, no matter for me. My, oh.
Actually, don't have that many remembrance things yet, huh? Really look at it. I'll be safe. I'm not even sure if it's raining anymore. I haven't heard. I haven't heard the rain before. It was wild how much my lights were flickering earlier. Like, just pick a lane, turn off or don't. Well, that was a weird session, wasn't it? Nothing was really accomplished except we climbed up a mountain a bit and fought a bird. God, I died to that bird like 30 times, maybe more. I think. Jesus Christ. I don't think I died 40 times like all of Demon Souls. That's probably not true. I probably died plenty. But I got my root. That was, yeah, so not worth it. It was fun. It was fun. It was fun to fight that bird. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. I do appreciate it. Oh, look at that. Thab's playing Perfect Dark on the N64 challenge. Why don't we read that? I need to play Perfect Dark. All right. Thanks again for hanging out, everybody. See you tomorrow in all likelihood. For a longer stream, we'll get a lot done here. So say hi to Thab. You all have a good evening. You all be safe out there, and I'll see you later. Bye.